All right, boys and girls, good morning. Today, like we did the other day, we talked about these guys, okay? And these are something you should probably remember. Down in the middle of the earth, you got the equator. This first band is the trade winds, the biggest, widest band. And the middle part, the sandwich here, is the prevailing westerlies. This is where we live, okay, right in that little band in the middle. And then you have the top one, the polar easterlies, which are a very, very cold wind with a name like polar. I would hope that you would know that. So, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about latitude markers. Now, latitude markers are going to be these guys right here, these lines, excuse me. These are where I'm going to mark them. Now, these are the three bands of winds, of global winds. I wanted to give you an idea of what we were kind of looking at. And these markers, these latitude markers, we're going to talk about longitude probably later. Latitude's a little easier to understand because latitude goes from right to left across the world. Now, these latitude markers are really important because they help you find location. And people track hurricanes with latitude and longitude because it's really easy for people that are in ships and meteorologists. They understand latitude and longitude and they can pinpoint the exact location of hurricanes, of ships, of certain uh, things on the map without saying, hey, you need to go to Nevada in the southern part. You can just say, hey, go to latitude west and longitude east of this number and you can find it. So all latitude markers, these ones that go left to right, down at the equator, which we've talked about before, you should be very, very aware of the equator, okay? That's the hot part, okay? This is hot. Up here, obviously, is cold. We've talked a lot about that, all right? These are the trades. Oops. These are the trade winds, all right? I'm gonna put PW for prevailing westerlies. That's our band. I'm gonna put a check there because that's where we live. And then we got the polar easterlies, which is not where we live, but where polar bears live, where the taiga is, where the tundra is. This right here is gonna be your a deciduous forest area, some deserts, and where the trade winds are is gonna be your tropical area, places like tropical rainforests, are usually abundant around the equator area, along with some mountainous areas as well. So, the reason we're going to do this today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how these three bands of global winds, their weather. I'm going to talk to you about their weather. So, if you start down here at the very bottom at the equator, this is always going to be 0 degrees latitude. Always. Okay, that's how everybody always knows that's where the equator is. Now, they do go up 10, 20, 30. Actually, they go up all the way in single digits, but we're going to just do increments of 30 because that's the easiest because we're doing these wind bands. This next one's going to be 30 degrees. Okay, so that's going to be the trade winds from 0 degrees to 30 degrees latitude. All right, so if we go from 0 to 30, we skip 30. So this next box is going to be, obviously, 60. All right, so 30 to 60 degrees latitude is going to be the prevailing westerlies. We live in the 30 and 60 degree latitude area, okay? And then up here at the very top, if you go and you draw a line straight down the earth and you come straight over, draw a line and a line, what does that look like? I hope you know that that is a 90-degree angle, young ladies and gentlemen, okay? So you got 0, 30, 60, and 90, all right? So let's talk about how this affects our weather because we talked a lot about the weather and we talked about where we are and the changes we go through during the seasons. Well, from 0 to 30 degrees latitude, these guys only go through 2 seasons, all right? They go through summer and winter, okay? Summer and winter are the only two they go through. You come up here to 60 to 90 degrees where the tundra and the taiga are, which we talked about quite a bit One has no trees at all. The other one is plentiful trees, but it's a freezing cold area. They also only go through 2 seasons. All right. So they only have 2 sides of the coin. They got cold, super cold, and then they have sort of cold. All right. Their summertime is kind of like our wintertime. So we would have a long, long year up there. Down here at the equator from 0 to 30 degrees latitude, where the 2 seasons are, they've got hot, and then they've got a little bit not quite as hot. It's kind of like our springtime is their winter. So they don't go through a really, really cold time down in the 0 to 30 degrees latitude unless you're on top of a mountain or the climate has just shifted a little bit and it's a little bit cooler down here. But they're never going to see snow in this area unless you're on top of a mountain. Now, if you live between 30 and 60 degrees latitude, well, we've already talked about this. You go through 4 seasons. All right, we go through summer, spring, winter, and fall. All right. Now, why is that? It's because we only get about half of the sun that the equator does, and it's so cold up here, they get about 1/4 of the sun we do. So we get all 4 seasons, while these other two right here between 0 and 30 and 60 and 90, they only have 2 seasons. So I'm going to make you a Google Doc, and I want you to fill it out. You guys have been doing a really good job so far. Do the best you can, and tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about these markers, and then we probably will start talking a little bit about clouds and cold fronts and warm fronts. But until that comes, go ahead and finish this lesson up, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.